You ever have one of those days where, before breakfast's even done, you realize you're about to go 10 rounds with the sort of person who thinks the help should come with a barcode? Well, buckle up. Because that's exactly the kind of morning I had. A real slow-burn horror show that ends with the self-proclaimed queen of a country club in handcuffs. And my kid realizing, maybe for the first time, just how far her old man will go to defend her. Let me just hit you with the scene. A blinding white vinyl fence. So expensive per foot, I swear I could have put a roof over my entire ranch for the same price. On the club side, the grass is this cartoon green. Looks like God himself spray-painted it just to keep the riffraff guessing. On my side, it's red clay and cow pies, honest and proud. That morning, I was technically off duty. Sitting tall on my old quarter horse, Whiskey, hiding in the shade of an oak that knew the border between privilege and real work as well as I did. See, my daughter Maya, 17, was out there mucking stalls at the Royal Hooves Equestrian Club for $5 an hour. Sweat dripping off her nose, hands calloused already, and I'd promised her, this summer job, it's hers. No sheriff dad hovering. She wanted to prove herself, save up for her first car, stand on her own 2 feet. You know what I mean? So I was keeping my distance, watching her from the shadows, trusting her to handle whatever nonsense these rich folks could throw at her. What I didn't trust, what I was right not to trust, was Mrs. Sterling. Now, Sterling's the club manager, if you can call barking orders and swinging a riding crop at teenagers managing. She never touched a saddle with those spotless breeches. If there was dirt under her fingernails, she'd probably call the CDC. The trouble started with her flying out of the air-conditioned clubhouse, looking like she was about to wage holy war on anyone in barn boots. She zeroed in on Maya, who was just pausing to wipe the sweat from her brow, shovel in one hand, bucket in the other. Sterling's stride. Hell, I've seen less threatening things in a storm. She got right up in Maya's face and, without a shred of shame, accused her of stealing a $20,000 Rolex. Just like that. No warm-up, no let's talk this out. Just full Karen mode. Now, you gotta understand, my Maya is tougher than she looks. She's got this quiet backbone. She looked Sterling right in the eye and said no. Didn't take anything. Haven't left this aisle. But the thing with folks like Sterling is, truth doesn't really matter once they've spun a story in their head. She wanted a villain, and today, Maya was it. Then came the part that'll make your blood run cold. Sterling, standing tall on her fake authority, demands to search my daughter's bag, her locker, even her pockets. Wants to drag her into the tack room and frisk her like some prison guard on a power trip. Maya's hands are shaking now, but she stands her ground, clutching the shovel like a shield. No, she says. You don't get to touch me. I didn't do anything. I felt something in me snap. Maybe it's a dad thing, maybe just the last straw. I nudged Whiskey forward, clearing the little ditch that marks the property line. And the sound of his hooves hitting that club's pristine concrete. Let me tell you, you could hear it echo from here to Kingdom Come. Everyone stopped. Even Sterling looked up, all high and mighty, until she realized there was a literal horse blocking out the sun between her and her new favorite scapegoat. I took my time, made a little show of dismounting, and asked, real calm, is there a problem here? She tried to wave me off. Get that animal out of my facility. Take your thief of a daughter and leave. I'm done being reasonable, but the quiver in her voice told a different story. What really gets me is, even then, she didn't see me. Just some mud-caked cowboy with hay in his hair. Didn't know I was the sheriff. And that was when she pulled out her phone, dialing 911 with the kind of dramatic flair you'd expect from someone who thinks the world's her stage. She wasn't scared. No, she wanted a show of force. She wanted the police to drag us out in front of her friends. Wanted us punished for the crime of being beneath her. And you know what? I let her. I let her play her part, even as she described me as a dangerous vagrant, claimed I had a gun, that I was threatening her, making the story bigger and badder every time the dispatcher asked a question. She was so wrapped up in her own performance, she didn't even notice me quietly texting my own dispatch. County code, officer needs assistance. Stand by for my signal. Because, see, when you've worn a badge as long as I have, you know when to call the cavalry, and you know when to let someone dig their own grave. It wasn't long before the city police showed up. 2 units, sirens wailing, lights blazing, drawing every set of eyes at the club. Now, If you've never seen the difference between city cops and county deputies, let me paint you a picture. The city boys roll up in slick sedans. Everything's shiny and official, all business. My deputies, when they arrived a little later, came in trucks that looked like they'd seen a few county fairs and probably broke up a few as well. The lead officer, Miller, young, built like a boot camp recruit, already puffed up by the smell of drama, stomped in, hand hovering over his gun, buying every word Sterling had sold him. His partner, Davis, was green behind the ears, nervous, eyes darting between the crowd and my horse like he was trying to spot the punchline of a bad joke. Miller didn't see a father and daughter. He saw, thanks to Sterling's little performance, a threat to be neutralized. He barked orders, tried to play hero, even pointed his taser at me after Sterling doubled down, crying crocodile tears about how scared she was. Meanwhile, the club's regulars, real blue blood crowd, were out in force, filming everything on their phones, narrating for their invisible audiences about the crazy cowboy and his delinquent kid. Never mind that nobody had seen Maya leave the aisle, or that Sterling had a history of these little power plays. When you look like the help, you're guilty until proven innocent, maybe not even then. Maya, God bless her, was holding it together, but barely. I leaned down, told her, "You did nothing wrong. You just gotta hold on a few more minutes. Let me do the talking." She nodded, trusting me, even as Miller started listing off charges: trespassing, resisting, making terroristic threats. I corrected him, politely, but firmly, about where the property line was, what the law actually said. I quoted him section numbers, reminded him about the Fourth Amendment. That just pissed him off more. Then, right there in front of the whole crowd, Miller cuffs me, twists my arm harder than he needs to, shoves me into the fence, and Sterling sees her moment. She gets right in my face, taps me with her riding crop, and hisses, "I told you I always win. You people never learn." That's when the twist hits. Because as she's about to drag Maya off for her search, with Miller's tacit blessing, I look at Officer Davis, who's still standing awkwardly by my horse. In a voice that cut through the whole circus, I order him to open my saddlebag. The kid's hands are shaking, but he does it, and what does he find? My sheriff's windbreaker, gold badge pinned right to the chest, county commander ID clear as day. The silence that followed, I'll never forget it. Sterling tries to play it off, says it's fake. Miller, for a heartbeat, wants to arrest me for impersonating myself. But then my real deputies arrive. Big guys, no nonsense, all muscle and righteous fury. Miller goes pale as milk. Davis, realizing what he's done, stammers an apology as he fumbles the cuffs off me. The real satisfying part, my deputies don't just let it slide. Miller gets arrested, right there, in front of God, horses, and half the county, for assaulting his own sheriff and civil rights violations. Sterling, too, gets read her rights. Turns out, the stolen Rolex wasn't stolen at all. The deputies find it in her own office drawer, tucked under a stack of invoices. She staged the whole thing, probably just to scare Maya, to show who's boss. The club owner, guy named Henderson, who I've played poker with more than once, was on the line the whole time. He listens in as my deputy reads Sterling the Riot Act, then fires her on the spot. Just like that. No appeal, no golden parachute. She's out, and the patrons, well, you could tell they'd been waiting for this day. Justice can taste a little like hay and sweat sometimes. So how does it end? Me and Maya, heading home in my battered pickup, whiskey content in his trailer, the club and its snakes behind us. The sun was setting, turning the sky that old, tired purple that means another day's done. I turned to Maya and told her, sometimes you gotta let a bully think they've won, just long enough for them to show everyone who they really are. She looked at me, still shaken, but with a smile that said she got it. "You looked cool, Dad," she said, "like a movie." I laughed, told her not to tell her mom about me riding a horse into a building. She'll have my hide. Before you ask, no, there was no slow clap, no sudden change of heart from the country club crowd. The world's not that tidy. But when we rolled up to our place, and the porch light was burning warm and soft, I realized you don't always need a gavel to get justice. Sometimes all it takes is standing your ground, knowing your rights, and refusing to back down, no matter who's holding the riding crop. Now, I gotta ask, what would you have done? When it's power versus principle, When it's your kid on the line, do you go along to get along? Or do you dig in, no matter what it costs? Let me know down in the comments. Ever had to stand up to someone like Sterling? Ever been cuffed for doing the right thing? Let's hear your stories about justice, dignity, and that thin, crooked line between right and wrong. And hey, if you want more true tales of cowboy justice, hit that like button. Share this story with someone who needs a little faith in karma. And remember, the law's just words on paper until someone's brave enough to enforce it, badge or no badge. Stay safe out there, friends.